Adam Schiff coming out on camera numerous times saying, I can't tell you what I've seen, but I've seen things. There's a lot more than circumstantial evidence about this collusion.
But there is more than circumstantial evidence. There is circumstantial evidence of collusion.
The Russians offered help, which we know they did. The campaign accepted help, which we know they did.
Then you got Hillary Clinton saying, an air of illegitimacy around Trump's victory because of this. I mean, she was very clear about it.
Last March, you said you had more than circumstantial evidence of treasonous collusion with Russia.
Certainly said that there's ample evidence of collusion. I think there's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy.
The noose is tightening on Trump. It's all going to come out. He's an agent of Russia.
Joe Rogan tears into Adam Schiff with blunt honesty, exposing what Schiff has tried to hide for years. Schiff thrives on fog, confusion, and empty promises of evidence that never materializes. Rogan sees right through the act, calling him out as a career political hustler who mistakes cable news airtime for real credibility. Schiff is neither a watchdog nor a leader, not even an effective manipulator anymore, just a tired salesman pushing a product that only the gullible or politically desperate still buy.
They called him a Russian asset. This is Adam Schiff. He was the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Adam Schiff knew. He never saw any evidence that Trump was in collusion with the Russians, or that the Russians were interfering in their elections, or that there may have been evidence of that, but there was no evidence that Russia and Trump were in collusion. And he kept saying it. He kept saying it on every news outlet he could. And he knew otherwise. And no one held him to task for that.
Schiff built his reputation by dangling carrots in front of the media, constantly claiming to have some smoking gun or earth-shattering revelation, only for those promises to rot into nothing. Rogan doesn't let him escape from that record, pointing out how Schiff's entire political persona is a con built on endless suspense. He's like a magician who never pulls a rabbit out of the hat but keeps insisting that if everyone just buys another ticket and comes back tomorrow, the trick will finally work. And unbelievably, some people still fall for it because Schiff is just slick enough to keep stringing them along.
Have you ever seen that video?
No. Pull that video up. This is one of my favorite.
Investigations also revealed Don Jr. has informed that Russian officials are on the Trump campaign, quote, very high-level sensitive information, unquote, that would be incriminating Hillary Clinton as part of, quote, Russia and its government support for Mr. Trump. Remember that?
People get phone calls all the time from individuals who claim to have information like that.
Some presidential candidate gets calls all the time from foreign government offering dirt on other Muslims.
I don't think this is deep.
The problem for Schiff is that Rogan has an audience that doesn't tolerate nonsense. Rogan's fans don't blindly trust politicians, especially those who speak in riddles and never deliver proof. So, when Rogan dismantles Schiff, he does it by exposing the laziness and cowardice beneath the polished exterior. Schiff doesn't stand up and fight for people. He hides behind committees and leaks. He doesn't provide leadership, he provides headlines. Rogan frames it for what it truly is, a parasitic political career feeding on gullible voters and a media addicted to cliffhangers.
Will it be your advice to the President? No, Mr. President, I need to go them on a case-by-case basis. Do not issue blanket pardons. Will that be your advice to the President?
Senator, I have not looked at any of those files. If confirmed, I will look at the files.
And will you be able to review hundreds of cases on day one?
I will look at every file. I am
Of course you won't. So will you advise the President?
Can I answer the question?
Well, my question
I would have plenty of staff. If you said, of course you want.
you'll be able to review.
I'm not going to mislead this body, nor you.
All right, let me ask you another question. You don't want to
You were censured by Congress.
Think about how often Schiff has promised a big reveal. Time and again, he strutted onto talk shows claiming to have evidence that would change everything. Yet every time, that evidence either didn't exist or was so flimsy it collapsed under the slightest pressure. Joe Rogan cuts through the pump, pointing out that Schiff is basically like a cheap Netflix series that keeps getting renewed even though the plot has gone stale. He's still playing the same tune, still clinging to the same act, but the
Jamie, pull that video up.
After this new FBI whistleblower report, I understand Pastor Tell last night he classified a 302 FBI document documents showing that a whistleblower, who is a Democrat, a career intelligence officer who worked for Democrats on the House Intel Committee for more than a decade, repeatedly warned the FBI in 2017 that then-Rep. Adam Schiff had approved leaking classified information to smear then-President Donald Trump over the Russiagate scandal. This is obviously a bombshell whistleblower report. Hopefully more people in this room will cover it as such.
Rogan's roast stings because it's rooted in truth. Schiff doesn't just overpromise, he lives in a constant state of overpromising. He's like a compulsive gambler who swears the next hand will finally be the winner, but every time he lays his cards down, it's the same pitiful fold. Rogan highlights how this isn't just political theater, but dangerous incompetence. Schiff wasted years keeping Americans trapped in an endless loop of speculation while ignoring real problems that needed attention. It was politics as performance art.
Now, this staff member began talking to the FBI in 2017 because he said he considered the leaks to be, quote, unethical, illegal, and treasonous. This is a Democrat staffer who is saying to the FBI he had a holy shit moment when he heard Adam Schiff give the order. These documents that outline the FBI's interview, like the FBI doesn't tape its interviews. They go back and they report what they heard in their interviews.
There's also the sheer arrogance Schiff carries, walking around as if his word is gospel and his self-declared integrity makes him untouchable. But Joe Rogan doesn't bow to that. He mocks it and tears it apart, exposing Schiff not as the wise elder statesman he imagines, but as the kid in a group project who talks the loudest, contributes the least, and still insists on putting his name first. Schiff's entire brand is built on posturing, not producing, and when Rogan digs into his record, it only looks worse. He's like a cloud of smoke that never solidifies into anything real. Rogan's takedown highlights how pathetic that is, a politician who built a career on noise instead of results. The roast lands hardest when Rogan frames Schiff as the exact opposite of what Americans need. People are tired of lies, tired of empty promises, and tired of politicians who act more like TV pundits. Schiff embodies all of that.
I don't believe he's going to weaponize the DOJ to use it against his opponents. I believe that's what was done to him. Though, as we discussed with Alan Dershowitz in that now famous clip that went around where I said we need Steve Bannon, I'm not totally opposed to it. I'm going to be honest. Who would cry a tear if Adam Schiff actually got some sort of hassle thrown his way by the DOJ, assuming, I'm sure he's done something.